Are you looking for the best gaming mouse? In this video we will look at some of the 4 best mouse on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Razer Viper V3 Pro. If money is no object, the best gaming mouse with a symmetrical design that we've tested is the Razer Viper V3 Pro. It costs a hefty $160, but it'll give you little to complain about if you play a ton of competitive PC games and can stomach the price. With its lightly grooved sides, noticeable but not aggressive hump and gentle flare-outs toward the back, the Viper V3 Pro's shape should be comfortable for a wide range of hand sizes and grip types. It's a bit on the wider side, and it probably works best with a claw or palm grip, but it's not so large or tall that it can't accommodate fingertip grippers. The main mouse buttons are contoured in a way that gives your fingers a natural resting place, and there are little ledges on either side to subtly nudge them to the right spot when you're scrambling in-game. Put another way, this is one of the safer shapes we've tested. The Viper's build quality is excellent. It's impressively light at 54 grams, which makes it a breeze to flick around in fast-paced games, yet its matte plastic frame isn't covered in dust-inviting holes like many other options around the same weight. We've seen zero hints of creaking, flexing, or rattling after months of testing. The finish picks up some finger smudges but is grippy and delightfully soft to the touch. The main click buttons use durable optical switches but aren't especially loud. Though they aren't quite as full or crisp as the absolute best mechanical switches, they're still snappy to press, neither too firm nor too light. The 2 programmable side buttons are well-sized and easy to reach. The scroll wheel, meanwhile, is tight and quiet, with clearly defined steps and a textured finish. Performance, as is the case with many high-end gaming mice these days, is effectively flawless. Razer's Focus Pro 35K optical sensor Gen 2 say that 5 times fast is basically overkill from a technological perspective but makes the mouse exceptionally accurate and consistent all the same. It's aided by amply sized, smooth-gliding PTFE feet and a rock-solid connection to an included hyperpolling dongle. The latter lets the mouse reach a maximum polling rate of 8000 Hz, but as noted below, few people will actually notice any benefit from jumping that high. Mostly, it'll just zap battery life. Razer says the Viper V3 Pro can get up to 95 hours at 1000 Hz, which is fine for this market and roughly consistent with our experience, but that drops to just 17 hours at 8000 Hz. If the price didn't make it obvious, the Viper V3 Pro is for gaming enthusiasts. As such, it gives up some of the perks you'd find on more mainstream mice. There's no RGB lighting or Bluetooth, while the power button/DPI switcher is located on the bottom of the device to make it harder to hit by accident. Since the device uses a special dongle instead of a traditional receiver, it still requires you run a separate USB-C cable from your PC or gaming laptop. You can connect over that cable when the battery is low, thankfully, but it's relatively thick. And while Razer's Synapse software makes it simple enough to adjust settings, it's something of a resource hog. It's also Windows only. These are all nitpicks, though. The Viper V3 Pro is outstanding, and it should feel right at home in the hands of committed FPS players. At number 2. Endgame Gear OP1 8K. If you don't mind connecting over a cable, our favorite wired gaming mouse with a symmetrical design is the Endgame Gear OP1 8K. It weighs just 50 grams and has a simple design with flat sides, no holes and a reasonably sized hump sloping down the back. It's a bit smaller and more narrow than most mice we've tested, so it'll be comfiest with a claw or fingertip grip, though a palm grip can also work in smaller hands. The whole thing is incredibly sturdy, with no flex or rattle, while the smooth matte plastic coating gives a fair bit of grip. The built-in cable is light, flexible, and cleverly titled upwards at the base of the mouse, all of which helps reduce any dragging sensation as you throw your hand around. The OP1 8K uses mechanical switches, but the mouse is designed in a way that makes them, relatively, easy to swap out in a worst-case scenario. In general, the device's openness to customization is commendable. There are readily exposed screws on the bottom and a screwdriver, optional side grips and larger PTFE feet in the box. By default, the main clicks are on the stiffer side but fast to actuate and noticeably crisp. You can actually set these switches to use a speed mode that reduces click latency even further, but either way the buttons are easy to spam. The right mouse button on our unit does sound a little sharper than the left, but the difference isn't severe and you can pop in quieter switches on the cheap if you want a different noise profile. The notched scroll wheel and two side buttons are well tensioned, too. The latter feels somewhat hollow, but they're hard to hit by accident. Sensor performance is predictably excellent. We saw no accuracy or motion delay issues across a range of games. With its lightweight, fast clicks and smooth stock skates, everything about it feels tailor-made for snapping around in esports-style games like Counter-Strike 2 that prioritize quick reactions. The mouse also supports polling rates up to 8000 Hz, that's still far from essential, but it's at least easier to turn on when there's no battery drain to worry about. We also like Endgame Gear's configuration software, which looks like something out of the Windows 95 era but is simple to grok and takes up next to no resources. At number 3. Razer DeathAdder V3 Pro. If you want a premium gaming mouse with a more ergonomic shape, get the Razer DeathAdder V3 Pro. It packs most of the same strengths as the Viper V3 Pro but has a taller, slightly wider, and more dramatically flared design that's tailored to right-handed users. Most people with medium to large hands should find it to be a natural fit with a palm or claw grip, though it'll probably be a touch too fat for smaller-handed folks and fingertip grippers. This kind of shape isn't as easy to whip around as the Viper, but its high, sideways sloping hump should provide a more relaxing place to rest your hand over the course of the day. Razer sells two variants of the DeathAdder V3 Pro, one with a similar soft touch finish as the Viper V3 Pro, and one with a more textured matte plastic coating. We tested the latter. It's not as grippy or smooth to the touch as the Viper, but it's still good, and it's much less of a fingerprint magnet. The DeathAdder's side buttons are bigger, closer together and a smidge less tight, but they're still difficult to hit by accident. The PTFE feet are smaller but still glide reliably. The design is heavier at 63 grams, too, but it's still lightweight. And while the sensor is technically a generation older, performance is effectively flawless. Otherwise, you're looking at a similar feature set. The optical main buttons are satisfying and consistent but not overly sensitive. The lightly notched scroll wheel is soft, quiet and resistant enough, if not firm. Battery life is rated at a decent 90 hours, and you can connect a lighter and more flexible USB-C cable in a pinch. Both versions of the mouse also support polling rates up to 8000 Hz, though only the SKU with the smooth touch texture comes with a wireless dongle that enables those higher rates in the box. The textured classic base model comes with a smaller USB receiver that only goes up to 1000 Hz, but since it's often available for less at third-party retailers, it's probably a better value. In general, the biggest knock against the DeathAdder V3 Pro is that it's expensive, with the 8000 Hz model priced at $160. At number 4. Corsair Scimitar RGB Elite. If you want a mouse specifically designed for MMO and MOBA games, get the Corsair Scimitar RGB Elite. It does the most important thing any MMO mouse can do, which is let you access several in-game actions with minimal effort. That's thanks to its 12 programmable side buttons, all of which deliver a comfortable, firm but not stiff sensation when pressed. Two of the panel's 4 button rows are textured, which makes them easier to distinguish without having to look down. Uniquely, you can physically reposition this side panel with an Allen key included in the box, so if you find the buttons difficult to reach by default, you can address that. Either way, having a host of buttons right under your thumb makes it much easier to play MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV or even single-player RPGs like Baldur's Gate 3, which ask you to navigate multiple hotbars of commands at any given time. Like most MMO mice, the Scimitar RGB Elite is on the larger and heavier, 108G, side, but it's not the bulkiest model we've seen. Its shape should be accommodating to palm and claw grips, and most hand sizes. The middle has a rounded, not overly aggressive hump, while the bottom is more gently sloped than rivals like Razer's Naga lineup. The overall construction feels well built, with a smooth matte finish, a grippy pinky rest and decent PTFE feet. Internally, its optical sensor, the Pixart PMW3391, isn't exactly advanced these days, but it's more than consistent enough for MMOs and MOBAs, which don't rely on precise, quick twitch movements. It has no significant issues with latency, either. However, there are a few downsides. The braided cable feels durable but somewhat stiff. The scroll wheel is grippy and accurate enough, but it's a touch too recessed between the main buttons, and it could be firmer. Those main buttons never feel mushy, but they use mechanical switches, so they carry more of a long-term durability risk than optical alternatives. Corsair rates them at 50 million clicks. And Corsair's IQ software is, frankly, the worst. You can use it to customize key bindings, assign macros, adjust the mild RGB lighting and save profiles to the mouse, but figuring out how is wildly unintuitive. Nevertheless, the MMO gaming mouse market doesn't really have one killer option these days. At a price that often hovers in the $60 to $75 range, the Scimitar RGB Elite offers better value than most. If you hate cables, Corsair sells a wireless version of the device too.